Hi all, we're going to take a look at a few advanced features in the Melody player in this video, namely importing a file from your notation software and using the solfege key controls, which are helpful with modulating melodies. Let's see how those work. First, I've got this melody that I've written in MuseScore, and I'd like to work with it in the Melody player, which lets me use it later for sight reading or dictation or error detection practice in any key or clef. I need to export this melody and save it as a music XML file, which is a file type that allows you to transfer a notation file between different notation or sequencing programs. Now that I've saved it, I can open it in the Melody player by either choosing the Load File button or dragging and dropping the file on the Load File button. Doing it this way rather than dropping it directly on the score ensures that everything is properly set up in the player. Note something odd here. This melody begins in A minor, but the Melody player thinks it's in C major, meaning that the solfege is wrong. This is because some notation programs only encode the key signature rather than listing whether the key is the relative major or minor, and without more info, the Melody player interprets these files as being major. We can fix this though using the solfege key controls. Instead of using the Show the Solfege button, click the Choose Keys button. This makes a couple of new buttons appear, but it also adds a marker to the beginning of the score. We can click and drag this marker to tell the player where a new key begins, and thereby change the solfege for the notes after the marker. There are two ways to do this. First, let's leave this marker where it is, because we need to tell the player that the melody begins in A minor, not C major. Double-click the C major label, or sometimes a little bit to the right of it, then change the label to A minor, or just AM. Now, click the new solfege button, and we should see the solfege in the proper key. But note that my melody doesn't actually stay in A minor, it modulates to E minor in the second half. I can still display the correct solfege for this part of the melody by clicking the Add New Key button, dragging the marker to the first note of the new key, and changing the marker's label. But instead of typing the new key, I'll use the other method. I can also type in the solfege that I want the next note to be, and the player will figure out the new tonic from this information. You can set up to 4 different keys for a melody in the Melody player, which should be plenty for anything you'd be working with here. That covers importing files and changing the solfege, so thanks for watching, and happy practicing.